Kakadosh Boker Tov. When we're continuing with the different halachot, we'll just bring down the halacha of the Beracha on pizza. So this halacha is actually a very interesting one because here the halacha brura quotes one halacha, even though if you remember, he actually gave a shiur here and he said the exact opposite. And he explained exactly what happened. So when we're talking about the pizza nowadays, that obviously what happens is that you put, whether it's going to be a regular type of a dough, and then you're going to come and you're going to add on top of it, whether it's going to be the tomato sauce and the cheese, and if you have other things as well, other toppings as well. So therefore what happens is that it would actually become the Beracha of Hamotzi, and that's what he brings down over here, right, that it would become a Motzi, unless you're going to have that the majority of the liquid will be meperot, or they'll come and they'll put fruit juices or other juices, or you could actually even taste it in the actual crust, or you taste it in the dough, and then it would make it mizonot. So he comes and he says, in order to come and to be latzet tzafek, it's always nachon lachmir to eat the pizza in the middle of a seudah, to make a motzi on other bread, or to eat for sure shalosh kabetzim, 3 eggs, which is going to be the 162, right, the grams, in order to be kovea seudah. And then you don't have a problem whatsoever. So which means that in essence he's coming to tell you that the beracha is hamotzi, and to get out of the problem you eat it in the middle of the seudah. However, though, if you remember when Rav David Yosef was here, he actually told us that this was the only halacha throughout the entire halacha brura that Rav Ovadia forced him to write this halacha, which means that all the rest, Rav Ovadia says it's Torah, and you could write whatever that you want, even if it's going to be that he would argue on him or not, it doesn't matter. This was the only place that he basically put his hands behind his back and he forced him that he had to write Amotzi. And the reason why is because he says, right, and this is also, by the way, the Shitav of Ben Sion Abba Shaul and others as well, that really be'emet pizza is mizonot. And this is even if it's talking about that the dough was 100% flour and water. And the reason why is because when you're going to come and you're going to put the tomato sauce and the cheese, and then you come and you bake it in the oven, what happens is that the dough, right, absorbs from the sauce and from the cheese, and therefore this is even being done during the time of baking. And therefore it becomes that since the taste is already tasted inside of the dough, it is actually mezonot. We're not talking about like frozen pizza. For example, Rav Ben Sion brings down the concept, and we learned it also, if you remember, that frozen pizza is done differently, because when you get the frozen pizza, the proof is that the cheese is not melted. How is the cheese not melted? And the reason why is because by frozen pizza, what they do is that first they come and they have the pizza dough, they come and they bake that pizza dough, and after baking the pizza dough, then they add the tomato sauce and the cheese, and then they come and they freeze everything, and now all you have to do is you put it in the oven, and therefore that's why the cheese is not melted. Why is it not melted? Because it was never melted. But the actual crust, actual dough, was already previously baked. So therefore there, it would be hamotzi. However, though, in our case, when usually in the majority of the pizza stores, obviously what happens is that even if it's not going to be the dough is mizonot, the dough is 100% hamotzi dough, but since when you bake it, the tomato sauce and the cheese gets absorbed inside, it is mizonot, and therefore you would make a mizonot. So okay, fine. So then when do you make a hamotzi exactly? Obviously, if you're going to eat it in the middle of a meal, so then obviously it becomes hamotzi. But in order to make hamotzi, you would have to have 162 grams. Now the question is why? So if you remember, we already brought down that really be'emet, a person, we usually go that it's 216 grams, which is 4 kabetzim for the being kovea seudah. However, though, it's actually a machloke between Rashi and the Rambam, and what happens is that he said, here we have a safek sefeka leachmir. What's the safek sefeka leachmir? The safek sefeka is maybe be'emet it's hamotzi, and maybe it's mizonot. Now, even if you're going to tell me it's mizonot, maybe you're already going to be kovea seudah with 3 kabetzim. And therefore, since 3 kabetzim is 162 grams, so therefore already in 162 grams, you would make a hamotzi because of safek sefeka leachmir. Now, usually every single store you would have to find out, because if you remember, we already brought down in the halacha that when we come and we measure the grams, we are only measuring the grams without anything else, without any additives. It's basically just the dough. So therefore, what we would have to do is we would have to take the dough and find out how much is 162 grams, and then accordingly you would be able to find out when do you have to start making hamotzi on how many slices. Do remember that when they sell individual slices, the individual slices are bigger than if you buy slices in a pie. When you buy a pie of pizza, the slices are smaller than when you come and you go to a store and I'm going to buy an individual slice. So therefore it's important to ask to make sure how many grams is going to be in the dough in order to find out when do you already have the obligation of coming and saying hamotzi. According to Shitav Rav Ovadia Yosef, it's always hamotzi if there's no juices in the dough and other things as well. However, though, according to the Shitav Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul and also Rav David Yosef and others as well, it's really be'emet, it's going to be mizonot, and you will only make hamotzi if you're going to be kovea seuda on it, which is going to be having the 162 grams, or if you're going to come and you're going to make hamotzi on another food, and then you're going to have the pizza in the middle of the meal.